guess the item 0 would be to accept the prior meeting minutes. Or-
Yeah, I was gonna group it in.
Okay, that's part of one. Okay, thanks, Bill.
All right, thanks. This is the Upper Darby Shade Tree Commission meeting. It's April 4th, 2024. I'm Evan Hunt, here with Mike Atwell, the other commissioner, and then our third commissioner, Eric Burns, couldn't make it this evening. We're also with Bill, the Director of Leisure Services, and a couple members from the public, Tony Hallam and Stephen Lockard. Yeah, so we have an agenda we'll just run through real quick, and then we'll get into any public comment if there's anything out there. So the first thing on the agenda was to verify the new procedure for recording minutes. Do you know anything about that, Bill? Did you figure out? Because you mentioned something about now that the meetings are being recorded, we don't need to do minutes anymore.
That's one of the suggestions, actually, to clarify. Can you still do like a bulleted lights, but in details, can refer to video.
Okay, so do we still have to approve the bulleted version?
Say it again?
Do we still have to like approve the bulleted version?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah,
Great.
Mike did a bulleted highlight version for us for the March meeting, and it looked good to me, so I could make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second the motion.
Anyone opposed? All right. Minutes approved. So next on the agenda was the trees we wanted to plant in the spring, which really just turned out to be one tree at the garage door at the township building that the former mayor asked us to plant a tree there. And we were trying to do an 811 call, and I don't know if that ever went through.
I haven't heard back from Nick Palmer, so I'll reach out to Nick and get an answer from him if we got the okay from 811. And if we did get the okay, then we'll have a conversation with him about moving forward, removing the grass from the space, and what Evan and I discussed was for us to dig up the specimen that's going to be planted there or prepare that tree, and then the parks maintenance team that Nick picks will then plant it here at the township.
Right. We still have to pick a tree because there is discussion about like doing a small one or a big
Right.
one. It was interesting. I was just reading a thing about it was in the Philadelphia Tree Care Plan, and they had a whole thing about how bigger species like oaks and stuff are better for visibility because when they get big, like the trunk, you just the skinny trunk at like eye level. So that might be something to bring up to them. It's
That's a good, yeah.
probably better to do a
It's
larger
relevant.
tree because
It's
yeah, they're worried
relevant.
about the visibility with the cameras on that corner.
Yeah, there's a camera on the two corners that run along Garrett, and then that one of those Garrett corners could also be paired with the one that's at the corner of Chestnut here. And between those three cameras, they have, like, the township has, and if they're asked to, they can provide the police department with footage of, all the foot traffic and car traffic and things and they've been asked to do that, or that is our township has been asked to do that, and they've done it. And there was concern that maybe a large tree would obscure that, but as Evan was saying, when a large tree grows up, their branches are higher and maybe less likely to obscure, coupled with the fact that there are multiple cameras, might make a large tree planting there a very acceptable choice for everyone. So we'll explore that very urgently since we're in April.
That's a good point. All right, and then the only other thing on here for tree planting was the Watkins Avenue Senior Center. I don't think there's any update on that, Bill. Mike Maloney.
Would he be like M Maloney at upperdarby.org? Maloney. Okay.
Cool. And then next on the agenda was the Stonehurst Hills Recreation Area, the basin. We put together a little plan for what that would look like, short-term and long-term. Did you get a chance to look at that? Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Details that we could probably work with the, meeting and, schedule.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, this month. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay,
That sounds good.
that's great.
I know that Bonnie emailed me today and said that May 11 might be an option for planting that basin with some volunteers. Okay. Do they need to hear back like anytime soon? Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the 18th.
Either, I think,
We can talk about that.
yeah, let's do that. Let's
It's not
do
gonna
that.
be enough time.
Yep, yep, yep. Calendar out.
Okay. Anything else with that? We'll just figure it out later.
No, not anything that I know of.
All right. Sounds good. Next on the agenda was tree checkers. We still have to check the trees from the 69th Street planting last fall. Did we pick a day to do that? I forget.
You put dates out. I responded that I was open to the later ones in April.
Oh, right. And yeah, we're doing the 21st.
Okay, yep.
Eric said he could probably come on the 21st.
Great. Yeah.
So,
Would you mind, like, just to outline what the activities will be for people watching this? maybe
yeah, so
later?
for tree checkers, it's a requirement from PHS where we get our trees from to make sure that, just verify that they're alive or dead, and then do any kind of maintenance that's required to help them out. So, yeah, we'll be doing like basic stuff. Pruning if that's needed. We'll check the mulch and make sure the root flare is exposed. We'll fix the stakes or the
The
tree
ties.
diapers, the
Mhm.
ties that are there. Yeah, if any of them are leaning, we'll straighten them out, stuff like that. I'm sure some of them are damaged. We can try and clean them up. Remove any like trash from the tree pits, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then we record it all on their urban forest cloud, PHS, which is up to date now, the township one. So you can go to, I forgot the website is, but if you Google like PHS urban forest cloud,
Mhm.
you can
Right.
see all the trees that the township has planted and the tree tenders have planted. Any PHS tree tenders group that has done trees, they're all listed on this website in like a map.
And these are always the requirements.
Yeah,
Like when you partner with PHS, they provide us with very favorable pricing and really good selection of kind of larger specimens. And one of the requirements of that arrangement is that we follow up and do the things that Evan outlined about maintenance, pruning, so on to ensure that, the effort is really maximized. So that's great.
all right, yeah, so we'll do that. That sounds good. Next on the agenda, just wanted to go through some events that were coming up in April. There's a lot of stuff going on. April, a good month for planting trees. So April 10 to 20 Upper Darby Tree Tenders is doing a variety of plantings throughout the township. I guess you could volunteer to help out with them. I guess you could visit the Facebook page, Tree Tenders of Upper Darby. April 14 from 9 to 3 is Maintenance Day at Gillespie Park. That's where we recently did a big riparian planting, like hundreds of trees there. So good opportunity to do some maintenance, learn about that project, help out at that park.
And even just get connected with some of the, really cool, active people in the community who are, driving these things, who are always looking for, an extra pair of hands. You don't have to be big and strong, but if you're willing, there'll be some way for you to help.
And then April 27 and 28 from 9 to 1 on both of those days is the Hike, Bike, and Roll Trail Challenge. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Bonnie, do you want to give us some information, or Steven? Thanks.
There are 3 locations.
Do you want to use the microphone?
Is there one? Where is it? I see.
Are these microphones hooked up down here? If you just
Find out.
Do they light up?
It's on.
Nice.
So on the 27th and 28th, the UDEAC is going to staff tables at 3 locations. At Drexel Line Shopping Center, behind the Wawa. It's actually a spur off of the DCT there. And I spoke to the managers. They actually had a managers meeting. There were all 7 of them there at one time. So they didn't have any problem with us sitting out back there. And the second location would be Gillespie Park, and that would be right adjacent to the parking lot. And then also at Chapman Park. And from those locations, we would ask people to do the trails there, which are asphalted. But then they could also go to other locations, and we'll have some maps available for people to go there, some of which are just for hiking. They would be dirt trails, so they would not be able to, let's say, rollerblade on them. But there would be other activities for them to do. So we have 12 locations in mind, and we've had other people ask us if they could do more. So some people have actually asked if they could do all of the Darby Creek Trail from the Haverford line down to Darby, which we figure is about a 7-mile jaunt. So we're trying to figure out how we could accommodate them there. But there are some opportunities. Someone even asked if they could do from Barnaby's down, because at a trail meeting today, they mentioned that they're starting the work from Mary's Place down to the crossing at Warrior Road. It's going to start at the end of this month, and maybe by as early as next Christmas, they'll have that trail done from Barnaby's down through McDonald Field. Then there's a big section, which is both Haverford, Bill and I have been out there, from Haverford over to Township Line, which on our side is called Pilgrim Park. Haverford has a different name for it. But some funding is necessary, and there's some private property that needs to be purchased. So whether that gets done or not, we don't know. Then there's some other things that get done. There's some small gaps in some sections. Many of the trail sections that we're sending people to are only 500 yards long. Some others are a little longer, let's say 1.5 miles. But there are gaps. But by getting people out to these locations, we think that we're going to be able to put some pressure on groups to see if they can go for grants to try and join these pieces together. And again on Sunday, 9 to 1.
Yep.
Missing anything?
Trees, we'll talk about trees.
Yes, right. Because it's the EAC, we're going to have some other people located in various places to talk about some of the efforts of the Upper Darby Tree Tenders, the UDEAC, et cetera. Maybe drum up some support from them about these items.
For the benefit of anybody that might be watching now or might dial into this later, just a quick rundown of the EAC, maybe,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. The Upper Darby Environmental Activity Advisory Committee. is involved in a number of different things, but they're usually for environmental clean air, clean water, et cetera, and how to go about doing that. We try to investigate issues, whether it be related to trash and recycling, whether it be related to putting trees in here or there, getting people out on the trail, seeing what's available, recycling of plastic bags, or actually eliminating plastic bags and plastic bottles, et cetera, from the environment, and numerous other issues. We're thinking about trying to possibly save the township money on glass recycling and other ideas. Anything we can get our hands into, we try to explore and give the township some ideas. You know, in some cases, we try to prod them, but in many cases, we just want to give them ideas, and they can decide for themselves whether a bean counter can decide if this is the best fiduciary argument for the township, whether it's the best environmentally healthy idea for the citizenry, that kind of thing.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'm going to be out there April 28th at Gillespie Park to talk about the trees there. So that might end up being our Arbor Day
Yeah.
celebration.
That's good.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that'll be
you come
good.
out, Eric.
Okay,
Maybe we could set up a table.
let's do that.
Might be nice to have
Yeah.
some information about
Mhm.
the Shade Tree Commission.
Mm-hmm. And if, yeah, we could provide information about that and maybe EAC and just, you know, people that are interested are going to be allied, right, to all the groups. So, no, I think that's a great idea. Sure, Bonnie, please. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Sorry, yeah, we didn't think of that.
I think it's a great idea if the Shade Tree Commission adopts that as their Arbor Day celebration as well, since that's why we planned it on that weekend
Right.
instead of the Earth Day weekend, because so many other things are happening on Earth Day weekend, and we thought the next weekend would be great because that Friday is Arbor Day. And so we thought that combining that would be great. And that's why we collaborated, the EAC with the tree tenders, with the trails, and then a focus will be not just on the trails, but also on the trees on the trails. And so, and then places where there could be trees on the trails, which would be great. And so, yeah, I think that would be terrific. And also, I don't know whether the township wants to pick up on this, but I talked to Eva Marie, and we thought that there might be a table for a plant giveaway at the time, and we could provide some plants from the tree nursery, and, you know, no killing birds.
Right.
Do a lot of things with one, in one
One effort.
effort. Right. So I think that that's great. Thank you.
That's a great idea. Sure, Bonnie, thanks.
Yeah, that'd be nice to give away some trees.
Yeah, yeah.
Even some private organizations, Drexel Line Shopping Center, they put in almost 200 trees. They did it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an effort that, not just on free campus.
Right.
There's a lot of private organizations.
You know, I've thought of that because I live very near the TD Bank at the corner of Lansdowne Avenue and Garrett Road. And there are a couple of trees on their property, sort of, that, you know, and one of them might be dead. And I thought I might even just like talk to the branch manager and ask them what their, you know, if they have planting plans or what, because that's a really busy intersection, and that kind of thing, you know, TD Bank might, you know, be open to doing a little more landscaping or whatever on such a busy corner and, you know, here in Upper Darby.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, so Tree Tenders has actually started an effort to reach out to businesses and other organizations. Like, we talked with the folks at Arlington Cemetery, we've talked to people at St. Dot's, we talked to some other organization that was interested in possibly getting trees. And we have, in several cases, gone out to talk with some businesses about doing this. And So that would be great if you wanted to stop in and talk with them. We're certainly open to
Mhm.
providing the trees
Okay.
for any
Oh, wow.
of those places. Any place we can get a tree in Upper Darby,
Yeah.
that would be really great. And also, well, I'll wait. I just wanted to make a comment on that since you brought it up.
Okay, thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, please, yeah. Yeah, I would. Because I also have I have some of the door hang information from tree tenders and things like that. I could have as like, thank you, Stephen, as
Thanks.
like leave behinds, if, for them to, for the business or the organization to consider. That's really good. I like that a lot.
Cool. And this also reminded me, I forgot to put it on here because I just got the email this afternoon, but we got our Tree City USA status for
Awesome.
last year.
Nice.
So that's exciting.
That's really great.
Yeah, and then we'll have the Arbor Day celebration this year and
Yeah.
get that application together for 2024.
Keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, well, is that like 40 some years?
46, I think, or 47. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. Anything else before we go to public comment?
I had something that's escaped, so it'll come up, but no.
Okay. Do you guys have any public comment?
Bonnie or somebody? Steve?
Just a couple things to look out for. I was
Sure.
over at Stoner's Hills Retention Basin this morning. I
Mm.
wanted to see what 36 hours of rain would do to the basin, and it was empty. And there was a fellow walking around it. I asked him, how quickly does it drain? He says, well, I've never seen it full. So, of course, I haven't seen the diagram for the plans, Bill, and I don't know if Mike Galante has them or anybody else has them. But if we could see that, that would probably be good. The other thing is, are any pipes clogged? Or is all the water getting down there or not, So,
Was it, I guess, way back when it was designed, was it designed not to just be the surface runoff from the surroundings, but instead?
yeah, my guess is it's taking water at least from the parking lot.
Okay,
I mean, ideally, you're taking water also from the street because it's a pretty large basin.
yeah.
But I don't know that to be a
Okay,
fact.
Okay,
You
yep,
know, there's
yep.
a basin at the north end of Gillespie Park, and it was designed to take water both off the street and off of houses in the surrounding area. It was designed properly, but it wasn't installed properly. And so it's not taking enough water in, or not taking as much water as it could handle.
Okay.
So I don't know what the situation is there, but if we could find out.
Is it a Mike Galante
Good.
question?
I don't know, well, Mike wasn't on board then, so I don't know if he has the plans.
Can you repeat where the location was? I was there this morning. Which basin is the one off the parking lot?
Yeah, right off the parking lot. It's the
Yeah,
big
that
one.
Big
depression.
one.
Yeah.
That was actually filled this morning.
He's talking about
I was-
Stonehurst Hills. You're
I
talking
was
about
there-
Oh, I'm sorry,
Gillespie
you're not
Park.
talking about Gillespie.
No, I'm
Oh,
talking about
sorry, yeah,
Stonehurst
Yeah,
Hills.
yeah.
The one at Gillespie was working like,
Oh, yeah. The one at the bottom.
the one at the bottom.
Yeah, the one at the top
I
isn't
knew
there.
exactly
Yeah,
where it was.
yeah. And the one at Stonehurst Hills, when I was there at 10 after 9 this morning,
Mhm.
had no water in it, none, no
Okay.
puddles.
Yeah,
And-
we could ask Mike Galante and
Okay.
hopefully
Yeah.
figure that out before
Yeah.
we.
And, it was done 16 years ago, 17
Yeah,
years ago.
exactly.
So who would have those plans? Who designed it? I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Well-
we should know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good follow-up. We'll do that. I'll take that one too. That's fine.
Thanks.
I have Mike's
Yeah, I think-
contact stuff.
Thanks for mentioning the Gillespie Park maintenance on April 14th. We can really use hands. I don't know whether the township, maybe we could ask them to put in a newsletter or put something on their Facebook page, that sort of thing, to get more folks out. And You mentioned the urban forest cloud that PHS, I think I had asked you about this, but I wasn't sure. The trees that get planted in the parks, like that were not planted by the township, well, planted by the township, planted by the Shade Tree Commission, like the Gillespie trees, all of those trees. Do we have those in there or?
Oh, in the cloud?
No, we don't have those in there. Just the
Because if
ones that we
you,
got from PHS.
yeah, if you wanted to put all of those into the cloud, Jamie Watts is our cloud person for tree tenders, and he could actually put those in. He had talked to the folks at PHS to see how you would put in trees that weren't purchased from PHS, so that you're actually getting all the trees that you have, not just the ones that PHS supplied. So if you're interested in me talking with Jamie, I'm happy to see if he would be willing. We have records of all the trees we put in over there, so I think that we could just need to give him the records of which trees went in. They won't be able to say the exact location of each of those trees, but we know how many of each species and that sort of thing, and how many total.
So would that be like more like a data upload than kind of like when we're doing our thing, it's a one by
It's one by one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he'll
That would
find
be
out.
great.
He'll find out, and then
Yeah.
we can maybe figure out a way to do that so it's not so onerous.
Yeah, hundreds.
Yeah,
right?
there's
What's the
got to
number?
be a way to
Yeah.
like visualize those data better because they're so close together that like
Mhm.
having a point for each individual one, I don't think it would be like that helpful.
Unless you give the exact same address.
Right, right.
Say, all these are planted at this longitude latitude.
That's possible. Well, he can talk to the people at PHS to figure out how to get them.
That would be
Okay.
great. That would be great because that would help make a little bit more complete record,
Mhm.
right? Than we would have without
Yeah.
them because the number is so vast.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll check
And
with
also
him.
as an example, maybe as an example, like a very large scale example of like what it would be, for the retention basin with 35 or 40 trees. Again, no one really wants to
Shrubs,
key in.
yeah.
Oh, if you could ask Jamie, we'd start there. That would be
Yeah.
great.
I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, Bonnie.
I have one more thing. Oh, yeah. So the tree checkers that you're gonna do and the maintenance at 69th Street,
Mhm.
just to make sure that, except for dead or diseased things, no pruning is done. Not now.
Okay,
I think it's past the pruning time.
Mhm.
If they're leafing out, you don't want to
Right.
be,
Right, that's a good
Cutting them
reminder. The 3D is only dead, diseased, dangerous branches.
okay. So if something's like broken and tattered, would we just leave it or,
you could, if it's broken,
You
you
know
can
how-
trim it off,
yeah,
but yeah,
that would be
That would
it.
be dead, I guess.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would
No,
be
that's
dead.
good. Thank
That
you.
would be dead.
No, that's a good reminder. Thanks, Bonnie.
Okay, thank you. And also, if I can send, speaking of advertising, if I could send to the township an advertisement, because we've had not as many people asking for trees this spring as we've had in the past.
Oh, wow.
So I'd like to drum up some more business before the 20th of April. 'Cause we're hoping to be finished planting trees by then. We have a list of about 37 people, but only about 10 of those people have gotten back to me. So I'd like to be able to try and see if we can drum up some more tree business. And I have a promotional flyer already that I can send to the township if they can advertise for us. That would be great.
Yeah, what is your kind of expected number in an average spring planting?
Usually about 30.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's possible people will come the last minute and say, yeah, I want my tree, even though they haven't responded yet. It's possible. But then, so the goal would then be to get rid of the trees that we get from PHS first because they're bare root and they have to go in the ground. I mean, we could do we've planned to do any other plantings prior to that. But we could do that after for just a little while, probably until, the beginning of May if we had to. So
The pickup date, the PHS pickup date,
ours is the 19th.
okay.
I don't know, you didn't buy any from PHS, no.
No.
And I don't know if Stephen was going to mention this or not, but you talked about the tree out front. And certainly, if you'd like to choose something that's at the nursery, we're happy to have you take it away. We have quite a number of different trees, some bigger. We have some birch, we have some oak, we have some maple. Yeah, quite a number of different species that would be either medium to large. So
Great. And long-lived.
they could come. We're certainly happy to have you put those in. And finally, I just wanted to give a report on Stonehurst Hills reforestation. This is a grant that the Stonehurst Hills Community Association got from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. And the goal is to plant 100 trees there and to put in a number of river-friendly gardens, a number of rain gardens, and a number of downspout planters and rain barrels. And the partner groups, which is the Delaware River Keeper Network, the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative, and the PRC, the Pennsylvania Resource Council, and the tree tenders have been partnering with the Stonehurst Hills Community Association and have been doing home assessments of people who had indicated at different times while we were promoting that they wanted green infrastructure, including trees and all those other things that we talked about. And so far we had a nice response. We've done probably 10 properties, and quite a number of those people would like downspout planters, which is great because they do get flooding in that area. And so this would really be terrific. We have a number of trees, not nearly 100, but we're getting some, so we're going to work on that. And then a number of lawn conversions so far. So Stephen has been great. He got a landscaper out there, and we've gotten some quotes on what it's going to cost, and we're moving ahead on the plans, which is very exciting for us. And so, yeah, that's it. That's what I report. If you want to say,
Before you go, Bonnie?
yeah.
For a resident who's had a lawn conversion, what seems to be like a critical aspect that gets them to do that? Is there something kind of, some awareness or
You
some?
mean like not wanting to mow grass?
Yeah,
out
I mean,
there?
yeah.
That's a good awareness.
Yeah.
Well, to talk about that, it's actually, so grass has very shallow roots, doesn't take in very much water and keep it in the ground. Whereas these river-friendly gardens, which are flowers and special kinds of grasses and other things, and I'm sure Stephen could speak more to the more specifics, they have deep roots, and so they act a little bit like the retention basin, where when it rains, the water goes in there and the deep roots hold the water in there before it then comes out, rather than just going right through and out to the street, which is what normally happens, or it just runs off the house because the grass doesn't soak it up. And so there's some upkeep, and I'm going to let Stephen talk about that part. But eventually, when it grows in, it's beautiful and functional, and again, saves you time. There's no grass cutting they have to worry about. And the other really nice thing about this is that in Stonehurst Hills, a lot of the properties are owned by landlords, the property owners, and not by the folks who live in them, the tenants. And so we're making relationships with the various realtors to have them do this on their property, which, this is free. This is money from the government to make your property beautiful and to keep it from flooding the township areas. And so I think we're going to have a good response. We have one of our tree tenders who calls them, and so far he's gotten good response from folks that he's called. So that's another great thing, because once we actually do some of this work, and these landlords who own a lot of properties, actually not just like one in the same area, see what's happening, then they might want to have more on their own property. So we're looking forward to moving that forward. Do you want to say something about River Friendly?
Because I think, I could imagine that on a street where everybody's mowing, or even if everybody are renters, it is mowed for them. The first one is probably the hard one to convert, right? Or the first, person, but then when others see it
Right.
a year later or a season later, maybe then that begins the kind of chain reaction, Stephen?
Well, there are a couple things involved. If you go up to Stonehurst Hills and look around, one of the things you'll notice is topography. It's called hills for a reason.
Yeah.
And a lot of the neighborhoods have on one side of the street, the lawn will be coming out and then quickly drop off, and then have a leveling and maybe drop off once again. So we've talked to people about, well, how do you mow this? And they say, I get a weed whacker out, because it's just too much difficulty to try and bring, many of them still have gas mowers, to drag them up the hill and then do a small patch, let's
Right.
say it's 8 by 12,
Yep.
and then bring it back out, and then try and do a steep pitched area,
Mm-hmm.
and then do another area, and have to bring it back down the stairs, et cetera. So this is one way we think we can make the job easier and still make it look nice. There are difficulties with it too. I mean, sometimes people have a wall, and you
Yep.
put pressure behind a wall if you build up water behind it. So each of these considerations we're trying to deal with. Every house is a little bit different. The other thing is, because these are all row homes, the water has to come off somehow. Many of the homes in the front don't have water come off the front of their house. It goes into the back alley.
Alley.
And that's one of the reasons why the planter boxes seem to work. So there is no ground in the back. So it's just concrete, and it goes down an asphalt driveway or a concrete driveway. If you put a planter box there, even though it doesn't hold a lot, it's 8 inches deep of soil, you put in 5 large plants, maybe 2 shrubs, something like that, you can still soak up some water. You can have some color, et cetera.
That's right.
Some of the plants, let's say, provide winter interest, like the osier dogwood, et cetera, a few others, et cetera. So we're trying to examine it from several different angles. Many of the people have lots of plants indoors, and they like it. And they say, well, I don't have a place to do any planting outside. And many of the lawn spaces don't have grass anymore, it's all weeds. So in some cases, we might have to do some treating of the soil before we do anything. So every one of these considerations is being taken wholeheartedly.
Great. But I could see the planter boxes being a good, like a good step for those backsides where the water does come off.
Right.
And there's no other opportunity to grow anything of interest, of beauty, of color.
Well, you don't mitigate a lot of water
Right,
because the planter box can only hold so much.
of course.
It usually is about 35 gallons underneath the soil, et cetera, but it's some.
Sure.
And then they can also tap that. There's a spigot on the bottom, so they can attach a short hose to it if they want to fill something else, if they have hanging plants, et cetera. But ideally, you do rain gardens because they'll hold so much more water, and that is a great mitigation. But they cost a lot more to do. These planter boxes, the landscaper's fee is a certain amount. It's not nearly as much as it is for a rain garden. So there's only so much money in the grant. We're trying to maximize it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
you make a good point. Like, a lot of this stuff is contagious. Like, once
Yeah.
the first person does it. And I
Right.
know that we might have talked about this before, but I know the township was interested in doing some like lawn to meadow stuff to kind of cut back on like hours spent mowing.
I think
Yeah.
there's been interest in, right, in at least some experimental plots of
Yeah.
wildflowers and things to mitigate the mowing, the pollution, the labor hours, the machine maintenance and so on, the, disgruntled residency, if it's not mowed when it's 3 inches tall, like Bill's getting calls, other people are getting calls,
Yeah. Yeah, it's something we've been advocating for. And
Yeah.
it would be good to get like some examples of that get some more awareness
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah. Right. Right. It's not without maintenance, but it can be a something of a solution to aspects that we're challenged by now with staffing and things like that. Yeah, that's great.
All right. Anything else from anyone? No? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second the motion.
Anyone opposed? All right, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Bill, Steve, and Bonnie. Thanks, everybody.